Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to have another young Indian with us, smiling face. Uh, right now, part of the voice of the young, part of the voice of the young series. Right now, we have with us Maahika Mathur. Let's listen to her. Over to you, Maahika.
Thank you, sir. Namaste and a heartfelt thank you for having me here today, sir. It's truly an honor to be speaking in front of such an esteemed professor. And namaste to the audience who's watching this. I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity to share some thoughts. Still raw, still growing, just like me. So, who am I? I am Maahika Mathur, currently pursuing my bachelor's in economics from Madras School of Economics and with a deep interest in data science. So I'm also doing a Bachelor of Science from IIT Madras. And I have a deep interest in how technology intersects with our everyday life. And well, I'm still a student in every sense of the word, forever learning, forever curious. Before I begin, I'd like to share a small disclaimer of sorts.
Mm.
I speak today not as an expert, but as someone full of questions. Some of these questions might sound a little bold or even sometimes a little blunt, but I assure you they come from a place of honesty and not judgment. If I say anything that doesn't sit right or isn't maybe fully formed, I apologize. I'm still figuring things out. So, hoping above all for like the benefit of everybody, of us as individuals, as communities, and as a country. So please take my words as humble reflections from someone still learning. So today I have like a lot of different topics that I will be mentioning and like covering. So firstly, I'd like to start with something very simple and very
Mm.
common. And, so, sir, this is a question to you. Do you use WhatsApp? Like, are you a WhatsApp person?
I'm not a WhatsApp person. I use WhatsApp.
Oh, but you're not a WhatsApp person, but you use it because you have to,
I
or
use
like
it because you can't survive in the Indian context without it. Yes.
exactly.
I use it because everybody else uses it.
Hmm. Well, me too, sir, actually. So I wanted to talk about that, like into a little, like with a little more depth. So, this is my question: is WhatsApp the everything app or the everything trap? So, we know that WhatsApp has become like a very integral part of our lives. It has like completely changed the whole digital landscape. So it's not just a messaging app anymore. It started as one, but now
Mm.
it has so many purposes. It's like my filing cabinet. Like I store all my files on it. It's like you can use it for payments. WhatsApp has this new payments feature. It has an AI playground, like Meta AI. You can generate images on WhatsApp, and most importantly, social circle. It's all wrapped into just this one place. It is this one app that has everything. Like most Indians, at least, we rely on WhatsApp like blindfoldedly. We do everything over here. For example, talking about myself, I have my professors on WhatsApp. I have my milkman's number on WhatsApp. I talk to my auto driver on WhatsApp. My research groups are on WhatsApp. My roommates, my friends, my so and like suppose my parents, their tenants, like it's like such a variety of people on WhatsApp. Like because it's just one number and one app for everything, all in just one place, just one tap away. Now that sounds very efficient. Like we're all like, wow, that's amazing. Like I open WhatsApp, I get my economics textbook from it because my friend sent it over there. I open WhatsApp, I get I take notes on WhatsApp. Or like sometimes we send reminders. In fact, many people have a chat to themselves. So I have one that says Maahika Mathur, and I text myself any notes or any things to remember or any PDFs or something like that. So, but here's the catch. Now, this sounds very efficient, but uh, there is something wrong with this also if we look at it. And there's one aspect, especially the amount of time that we as individuals have been spending on WhatsApp over the past, like few. I think post-COVID especially, or like from during COVID onwards. Let's suppose I spend 30 minutes on WhatsApp. I start and like text people and I'm talking to people. And then suppose I'm talking to person N and they're not online right now. They'll come online 10 minutes later. So I'm still like, I have a 30-minute span and I'm texting somebody. And then they come online 10 minutes later and I'm still online. So I'll be like, okay, I'll talk to them. Now I texted somebody before and then that person comes online later. So it's like people have these different, so it's like a stats distribution where everybody's coming online at a different point of time. And but it's actually very crazy if you think about it. Now
Mhm.
30 minutes, this keeps adding up because I'm talking to all these people. So I'm always on WhatsApp. And now multiply that across everybody's staggered schedule, you will get like a big time sinkhole. Like I like this is my personal opinion. It might be true. Do you face this, sir? Have you
No,
faced this
no,
trap?
no,
Not really.
no,
Oh,
because I don't spend time on WhatsApp at all. I read it and I reply, but anything serious has to be on my
oh.
email. Okay.
Then I think this has something to do with the Gen Z, like my generation. We are always
Yeah,
either on WhatsApp
yeah, yeah.
or on Instagram, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
So
understand the age difference, but since you asked me,
yes,
we also have text messages, like what you get iMessages, and people send those
yes,
also. I don't even read them. They say, yeah, if you want to send it, you kindly send me an email or phone me, but don't send. You keep getting those messages from here and there uh, on your whether it's Android or iPhone doesn't matter. WhatsApp is an app, but then there's a messages app. Uh, I
right,
do read the WhatsApp because you can't survive in Indian context without it, but I just ignore mostly the messages. So if they're serious, they'll send me on WhatsApp, on email, and if they don't find that I'm compatible with them, fine. I'm old enough to not bother. So I'm not in any. But the only, and by the way, there's a comparable app in China called WeChat. That's much
right,
more comprehensive and had payments long ago, and is actually the only thing in China, WeChat.
right.
Okay,
I
so
think
it
they
is
use it for
there,
like
and
payments.
yes, you can see it, but I guess, in the old generation, I am more heavily on social media than the rest. But in the old young generation, I am much less on social media than the rest. So it's an age matter. I'm not, I'm not on WhatsApp trap at all.
But I think you're pretty tech savvy because this whole BitPet
Oh,
thing,
see, we
I
have been, I mean, by we, I mean, my wife's two younger brothers and we were tech pioneers, adopters, early adopters, of tech, way before
I
you were
see.
even born. In 1979, we had started using modems to communicate with the mainframe computer. So there were no PCs those days. We were one of the earliest adopters. I spent $5,000 to buy my first PC in 1984. 5,000. It was my 2 month salary in 1984. So my two brothers-in-law and my friends, we have been very early adopters. And it has also influenced my father-in-law, who's 98 years old and lives in Washington, D.C. He posts videos on YouTube. It has this knowledge has gener maybe I can't hear you.
Oh, can
Okay,
you
I
hear me
can.
now, sir?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he knows, and now he's using, he will write some points about my granddaughter, his great granddaughter, and tell ChatGPT to make a point.
Whoa, wow.
So, it runs in the family that look, we are all tech savvy, long before anybody else was. I mean, my two brothers-in-law and I were using email before Hotmail, 1990. So we
Awesome,
are we
sir.
are tech savvy guys, and we know how to keep up with the technology, but we are not, young, so we are not in the WhatsApp trap.
So this is so great to know. Like, mostly people just give up after a certain time. Like my grandmom, she just given up on tech. She's like, okay, it's not my thing anymore. I don't have the energy to, keep up with it.
We are
But
not
it's
in that, we are not of that mold. Rather than to say that somebody has to teach us, we can teach them how to use tech.
wow.
So we are not,
That's
and that's why the Vidpeds was so easy to set up, because we are. I mean, my people whom I know well, they're all early adopters of technology. They may choose not to do something or the other because they can choose, but there's no issue. We know that technology is a wonder and it can do. But the problem for me in WhatsApp is that you cannot go back. I mean, I have all my old emails since 2005. Okay. So I have restored
okay.
emails. Now I can't, WhatsApp goes to yesterday. You can't find anything. Right. So
Hmm.
that's why main reason I don't want to put anything serious or which is not just transitory on WhatsApp or messages, because it's not organized to be there for you. Right? So, but
Actually makes so much sense.
one of my
Yeah,
wife's
that
younger brothers, who's a professor, he has all his emails since 1998. So you can imagine that we figured out way back then how to store our emails, how to have everything. So anyway, let's not talk about me. You talk about yourself.
okay.
Uh,
But that was very nice to know because if you think about it, you've seen the world so much that you know that WhatsApp isn't like a long-term thing. Our generation who's like only into WhatsApp hasn't seen the world long enough to realize that WhatsApp isn't the long-run solution. So
No,
actually about that,
it is a very good solution. I don't dispute it. It's a very good solution I use it for quick messages. And of course, if you are in India, you can use it for payments and stuff like that. But if you are not in India, then you don't have to use it for that. And I mean, we all use AI every day, so it's not like what is AI? We're users of AI right from the very start. So
Mhm.
we even have free accounts on ChatGPT for that reason, because we were the early adopters. And same of
Oh, so you have the ChatGPT premium for free?
yes,
Wow.
because when in the
Oh,
beginning they were giving it away free. So we use ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. We use 5 or 6 AI. So it's a different world for us. AI is very good, so we use it. So we are not sort of resisting anything. We are riding the crest of the wave. And by we, I mean my friends and I. We are riding the crest of the wave. We are not drowning in the wave. We are
well,
riding the
wow, that
crest.
was so.
But yeah, I mean, there's no trap. I mean, I'm also on Instagram. There's no issue. But I don't post that often, and I don't use it that often. But yeah, we are all. I'm on Instagram, so no issues. YouTube Shorts, Instagram. So it's no big deal to do all these
So,
things. So but what I'm faced with is more shortage of time. I'm doing so many things that I don't have the time to record more for Instagram. I wish I had more time, but I don't have the time. And I particularly like that now you can have a 3-minute reel. 3 minute is what I need to express my opinion. I found it very tough to do it in
mhm,
1 minute. And then in 90 seconds, yes. But now it's 3 minutes. So I have some
mhm.
Insta in, but they're all, not, they're serious. Okay? They're in Hindi and in English. But one day I may do more of them. Anyway, this is not my time. Please talk.
I mean, yeah, this is fun to know because, like you said, talked about the duration of the reels. I think the 30 and the 90-second ones have kind of damaged my generation because we've got such short time spans of like paying attention to things. Like most kids just want like very crisp data.
Yeah.
Nobody's able to sit through our college lectures are like 1 hour, 30-minute long lectures. After an hour, the kids just give up. In
Yeah,
fact, people can't even watch movies anymore for longer. We're like,
true.
let's just recommend a series. I will binge watch the series, but I can't watch a movie in one go. I
Yeah.
can watch 40-minute videos, but not like a movie. I think that's like because of the
But by the way, don't they sit down and see a series in one day sometimes?
exactly. They watch that like continuously. Like that's what we call binge watching, like
Yeah.
40-40 minutes, but like for more than 3 hours. But like committing to a movie is, oh, I don't have the time for that. But a series is like, okay, doable. I'll not sleep the whole night, I'll watch it.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
Okay.
like you said, sir, about the SMS apps and all of that,
Yeah.
I have noticed this like among mostly like a certain group of people, which like I admire now. And now that you mentioned also that, you're more into messages and all of that. So I think some people might call it that you're going back, you're going backwards because SMSs used to be an old thing. But actually, I feel you're actually going smart. Like, because moving back to SMSs and emails have like a lot of benefits. Uh, most like one of them is no typing status. So when on WhatsApp you always get somebody's typing, so you'll be waiting for them to reply. But SMSs, it's clean. You don't know if somebody's typing. You don't know when somebody came online. And you can't on maybe on iMessages you can send like photos and media, but
Yes.
normally text messages you can't.
Yeah.
So there's no media distraction. Like nobody's
Yeah.
sharing memes and gifs and all of that extra
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And then there are no red receipts also. So
Yeah.
that's also awesome because I don't want to like, yeah, if you want to know whether somebody read your message, then you'll obviously like WhatsApp them and you'll keep waiting for the blue tick to come and all of that.
Yeah.
But I think that is a little like it's okay, but it's not something. Yeah, I, and then basically on text messages, simpler communication is healthier, I think, for people to grow because you'll just be more productive and efficient if like you follow that. And so there is this one quote I found about maybe friction. So friction in this sense is like going back to text messages. Maybe friction isn't always bad. Maybe the fact that I can't send a video instantly forces me to think before I speak. So that, I was like, wow, that makes sense. So that was like one topic that I wanted to bring
Okay.
up about
My
WhatsApp.
last reason to not use WhatsApp is because you cannot format. So my messages on email are not messages, they are formal communications with bold and yellow highlight and italics and subtexts and subsections. So they are like a presentation. You are not writing, "Hey, what are you having for lunch?"
Mm,
You are writing like, "Okay, this is my current thoughts," and then you have bold in it, you have underline in it, you have italics, you have the yellow highlight of a particular sentence. So if I send an email, then some two person whom I don't know, then there's I'll put in yellow the one core sentence. What is this email about? So then they
mhm.
know that, look, this is what it is about. And so I mean, I need that formatting and the
I
staying
think
power.
WhatsApp has some basic formatting, but not like the colors.
No, 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 you can't get, I mean, I don't know, maybe you have bold
Huh.
and italics and all that, but anyway, I don't send even WhatsApp from my phone. I'm at work, WhatsApp's available on the laptop. So I'm just
Right.
using that on the laptop, and there's no reason to sit and type. Of course, the
Mhm.
advantage, or well, you can dictate also. So I'm dictating, right? But I mean, it's fine. But I find that so informal messages with the same person. I'm on email and WhatsApp, so I will. WhatsApp is just for simple things. Complicated things all go on email.
Right. Yeah, WhatsApp should be for like quick messages, like, hey,
Yeah,
conveying a point, call me at 5. That's enough.
yeah, 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 yeah.
For
That's it. Yeah,
elaborate messages,
yeah. So elaborate messages or something where I have to say something, that is on.
yes, sir, I think there was some network issue.
Yeah, okay, anyway, so let's change to your next topic.
So, my next topic is ChatGPT and AI. So, uh, so I label this topic as the rise of surface level smartness. So, specifically ChatGPT, because this platform is brilliant, amazing. Like you said, you use it. I use it very often, and everybody is like relying on ChatGPT now. Like everybody uses it. But I feel it's becoming a crutch for many people. Like, the walking crutches, it's becoming that. People are no longer trying to understand concepts, like to understand the domain. People just want fast answers. Like, just in an instant, I want an answer ready. No, the research mindset, the going behind and searching for things like Google. Before, you had to search for every single thing, read a multiple websites, then cross validate and use some of your common sense uh, that is inbuilt. People still have it, but I think ChatGPT, now that people can just type everything and it just comes in like one particular perfectly formatted answer, it is great, but it does have some cons. So this is not AI's fault actually. It's in economics we learn about the moral hazard. So this is a classic case of moral hazard, I feel. The once the risk of not knowing is absorbed by a system like ChatGPT, users stop safeguarding their own learning. Like this is especially true for surface level users, not for like suppose you are an expert. I think you've done a PhD in economics, sir, if I'm not
Yes,
wrong. Uh,
yes.
yeah. So you know the domain and you've read the books. Now you when you go to ChatGPT and what you ask ChatGPT and your brain will cross validate it because you are the expert. ChatGPT is just there to give you the content in a easy and quick way, but as an expert you will cross check and you'll validate and you'll be like, oh no, this is wrong. But that is for those people who have uh you know who didn't have chat gpt before. But like for generations like mine and maybe even the younger ones who start off with chat gpt, they are like surface level users. They won't be able to cross validate because they won't have the set of pre-existing domain knowledge or the subject expertise to
Mm.
check whether what AI is saying is wrong or not, because they won't understand the model's assumptions and they will just use the outputs without questioning the algorithmic architecture behind the thing or behind the answer that's generated. Because this is kind of ironic. I'm a student who be like I'm an econ student and a data science student, so we learn stuff like regression, stochastic processes, statistical inference, and all of that.
Mm.
But I also see people skipping through the books. So we have all these heavy books like Larson and Marx for stats, and like several other references, which are like
Mm.
deep into the stats. So they have like how is the model made and everything in detail. But I see some people, they just go type what is the Poisson formula. They take the formula from ChatGPT, they ask ChatGPT to solve their question, and they're done. They don't get into the depth of how, like the whether in this case the Poisson formula should have been used or should the geometric model have been
Mm.
used or something like that. So people don't even question anything. They just be like, ask ChatGPT to give me the answer. Give me an answer quickly. 10 marks question. What's the final answer? What are the steps that I have to do? Tell me the steps. Like,
Yeah.
hey, that'll help you pass. Definitely you'll get marks. But are you really learning that way? Again, surface level. So I think our generation needs to, I mean, I don't really know what the solution to this is. Do you have any? Like, I just wonder, will the upcoming generations be able to get the subject level expertise, like how the generations that didn't have chat GPT, like at least till their college life? How will people?
Well, I do have some, I won't say I have a solution, but I do have some thoughts. The thing is that the teaching system doesn't know, has basically not evolved even how to handle Google, and certainly has not evolved on how to handle ChatGPT. So it's the teaching system that is outdated, not the student's fault. I mean, since I've my age, I first started teaching in college in 1981. At that time, the only person who had knowledge was the teacher. Right? There was no, you couldn't even go and say, "I'll go to the library." Then do what? Right? So the teacher had all the knowledge. And I stopped teaching and I went back to teach in early 2000s. By then, there was Google and there were other search engines, and people had laptops, and students had laptops in the classroom. But it was still very early days, and you could, if you had forgotten, hey, can you just look up this data? Then somebody would type it in the laptop and you would have it. But the websites were few and there were no smartphones, right? And so it was still the teacher had some knowledge, but the students could also have some knowledge from outside. Okay. So you could still use the old teaching methods. Now, when the smartphones came, the problem is there's a conflict in the US in high schools because the students cannot be held to the teacher talking. I mean, there are now the confiscating policy that no, all cell phones have to be handed in at the first period. Because even this, there's this higher student said, I'm doing higher biology. These are tough courses in 12th, right? But while the teacher is talking, I'm scrolling through my phone. Even I can't stop myself, though I'm a smart student. So the problem is that the teaching has not evolved, first of all, on how to handle the smartphone. Now everybody is saying in Europe, not so UK, let's take the smartphones away. As soon as you enter the classroom, you have to deposit your phone.
So, but why did they even have them in the first place? Like, I think in India, phones were never allowed in schools.
Yeah,
I
but
think,
see, the US educational system is very different from India. There's no discipline
right.
here. Okay. Discipline is outdated concept. There's never, it's chaos. The classrooms are chaos. It's always been chaos. But the chaos now is that the teacher always had the attention. Now this attention is drawn away into the smartphone. So it was not ChatGPT that distracted you, because even you could go through even Instagram 30 seconds, some joke, something, this, that, people were looking at, or just messages, even in the classroom, they're sending messages to each other. And just, how much just yesterday I read in Wall Street Journal that college students now in the US talking about, they're all trapped in GCal. GCal means Google Calendar. Okay. So you
Okay.
share your Google Calendar with each other, and then you know what the other person is doing. So you just say, okay, want to meet at 11:30? Then you don't say that because you know the person is free or not free. So the whole life is on GCal. People, your
Wow.
friends all know. So the thing is that the technology is used by people in ways that the society has not evolved in, and the teaching system has not really figured out how to teach with AI. It's the problem is of the teachers that they are stuck in the old Gurukul method. And that is not going to work
Hmm.
anymore. And you are expecting people to read the same books in the same way. It's like asking people who are going to be driving a car to figure out how to mount a horse.
Mhm.
It's outdated. You don't teach them how to feed a horse, how to ride a horse, because nobody's going to go in a horse on a
But I
horse.
think,
So the
yeah, but
teaching,
like, yeah.
how to train people to think has become very important, but the teaching system is not evolved in that direction. They're still on memorization of facts and data. But it's like, the calculators removed the need, and math teachers struggled with it for a long time. That look, before the calculators, your ability to compute arithmetic was very important. But with the calculators, your ability to compute vanished, right? And so,
I agree, but there's this one point. Like, I'm grateful to have certain professors who, I'd say, not all teachers are not adapting. I do like have a few professors who, like, so we have this very advanced stochastic processes course that I'm taking this semester, and our professor, he is like full pro AI. But he also knows that if we try searching for answers of this course on ChatGPT or anything, we won't get the right answer. So I think maybe like somewhere the teachers do know, like maybe in school, maybe school teachers are not maybe taking as much because school, you can get those answers easily from ChatGPT and you can be fully reliant. But I think certain courses, maybe in your undergrad or in your masters, you just can't go through. I mean, you can't survive those with the help of AI. Like you need to do it the old way, like think from ground level up. But yeah, I think most professors haven't kept up, but like there are a few professors who are like trying to the
the,
like
yeah,
yes.
the exam system has not evolved. No, the exam system
Oh
has
yeah,
not
that
evolved.
is
So anyway, that's sort of just my
right.
feeling that you need to have a way to get the students beyond AI. And to say that you
Yes.
can't rely on AI, well, next year that problem will be solved by pretty much the next year. That you will get accurate answers. Okay.
Uh,
And
right.
even now you
Because
see,
the data.
no, I mean, there are examples from the real world. Two of them I know from the medical field. There's a guy who was having 40-year-old guy having multiple issues, no treatment possible. I mean, the doc said you have 3 months to live, and some rare disease or something. Then his wife had attended some meetings, and she wrote to one professor in who was doing this medically trained AI, and he put all the data in, and they got a prescription, a complicated prescription from AI, and they sent it to his doctor, and they gave the prescription. 1 year later, he's healthy. Nobody could figure it out. Nobody could
But
figure
AI
it
could.
out, but AI could. And then there's a baby who had a genetic issue. Okay, young, and how are you going to solve this? There's a CRISPR. It's a method to bio engineer the baby, the genes. But that the data of this baby was fed to CRISPR. CRISPR is sort of an AI. And the CRISPR gave exactly how to edit this gene of this baby. And in the end, it was not surgery, cut open, just injection through the veins, customized for this baby, and the gene was edited. Can you imagine the gene was edited? Wow, it costs $1 million maybe, but the first time that a gene was edited in a baby to cure the baby of genetic disorder. So AI is very powerful, and people haven't seen the power of AI yet, and they keep talking about it as if it makes mistakes. It does it, but
Mm,
it does make mistakes, yes, but they will fix that part. But in the meantime, the power is just too much that people have no idea what is
mhm.
not going to hit them, what has already hit the business world. Everybody I know who is in business is trying to cut costs by AI. So the
I think
only
they should teach. I think they should teach like prompt engineering and like all of that to make people keep up with AI. Because like you said, it's very powerful. The right way to go about is by doing the right prompt engineering and like giving the right prompts.
but see,
That should
that
be
is
taught in
also a
schools.
transitory issue where the chat
Okay.
GPT is not yet evolved enough. You have to ask the right question. right?
Okay, so you're saying
What you're saying is that
eventually,
prompt has to be,
yes,
but that is transitory. I mean, soon it will
right.
say, look, I can interpret this in 5 different ways. Which one do you mean? I think you mean this one. So these are all temporary. The basic idea is that AI has removed the importance of knowing the accumulated knowledge. What is already out there on the internet, you can have at your fingertips. And it just don't look at it from today's point of view. I mean, we were early adopters of computers. Those times we used floppy disks and we used the DOS, which people won't even know. It was non verb, there were no pictures. It was all command driven. Everything was typed. It was all commands. There was no icons, nothing. It is all no screens, nothing. There's just text. And people would say, oh, but it's like what they did not realize is that it would become touch screen. And then people said, I can't type, but today you don't even have to type. It gets to way to voice. So this thing is going to keep fixing its issues. And if the teaching system doesn't evolve to teach people how to learn
Hmm.
with this knowledge, because knowledge is not important anymore. The what is the order, when did this event happen? You just ask ChatGPT, it's going to give you the right answer. So you don't have to know that anymore. You just have to know that an event happened, or what sort of. So I mean, I'm not teaching
Hmm.
anymore, but I'm afraid to teach because I don't know how to handle the fact that all the knowledge is there at the fingertips. So how do you get people to learn to think? That has become the key point. Rather than pass the exam, no? Because you're saying exam by exam,
Hmm.
there's no meaning. Because you have to learn to, unless the exam tests your thinking. But then how to implement it on a large scale, as in India? Anyway, I don't have any
Yeah.
direct answer. Let's change. If you have another topic, let's shift it to that.
Yes, sir. So, my next topic is on again Gen Z and about like our generation. Are we lazy? Are we lost? Or are we just burnt out? So I've heard this like from all these people, old people. They usually say this to us. They're like, you Gen Z kids don't want to work. You are spoon-fed. You lack drive. You have no motivation. You have no work ethic and all of that. In fact, like I think in Palki Sharma Upadhyay's videos, she mentioned something about Gen Z's lacking like work ethic and people don't want to work with Gen Z's anymore. So when I think about that, I actually do realize that we as a generation lack certain aspects. But I was thinking, why is that so? Like there should be some fundamental reason behind this generation being like that, or like the upcoming generations. Why are they like this? Why are they so chill, and why is there no professionalism left, or what is the possible, what could be the possible reasons why people behave this way? So yeah, we are at fault, but maybe it is the senior generations that have given way to these changes, because like generation by generation is what change comes. You can't just change completely, like a generation n and then generation n+1. N+1 won't be like completely different from generation n. So I was just thinking about it. Some people call us the depressed generation or the anxious generation. I think there's a book on that also. But I was thinking about it. So I came up with this sort of logic maybe. We are dealing with an inflation in expectations. So not just in prices, but in expectations also. So the rat race, the whole story is like, how everybody is behind money and behind jobs and it's getting harder to get it and all of that. Like every certificate, you need a certification. Like mostly people my age are like, oh, we need to get certificates. Oh, I need to build my resume. I need to build my CV, all of that. When I asked my parents when they were, so I'm 20 right now, and I asked them, when you were 20, did you do all this? When you were in your second year of your undergrad, did you, do all of this? They said that they had their own struggles and their troubles and whatever. It was not easy for them either. So, like, in terms of how hard it is for us right now compared to how hard it was for them, that comparison can't even happen. Like, it doesn't make sense to compare generations because there is a underlying hidden inflation. Like, it's like, how nominal and real, there's that difference in GDP or whatever. There is some similar difference in uh well, I don't know what to say, but like in generations also, like there are certain hidden factors. So today, like the competition levels, especially. So I was talking to my professor, one of my professors earlier, about how competition, like we have more competition. I stated our generation has, like the population has increased so much that we have more competition than you guys had. You guys had more opportunities, is what I claimed. But he was like, no, we also face competition at our time. What I did was competitive. Like there's always going to be competition, but the levels of competition, again, some people like to compare, but they can't be compared. So it's like, a multivariable optimization problem where there are shifting constraints because it changes over every year, but there is no proper objective function at all. So even like economists would find it difficult, like I'm finding it difficult to put it in terms, like to define the, like if this was to be put in a model, it's very hard because it changes over time. Like there are a lot of variables that keep changing. So it's like there is diminishing marginal returns or like diminishing marginal motivation generation by generation, because you see when you like, so when I grow up, I'll be like, okay, yeah, these people, the younger kids have it easier. They have AI since like first grade, so they can do so much more. They can do a billion things. They can learn. So I like AI for learning things. Like I'll be like, okay, I have everything in one hand, like one place. I can learn thermodynamics if I want to right now. At least like some basics. But if I took like a book and tried reading it, it would be hard for me. So now I think about it, oh, the younger kids can do that and like they'll be even smarter. If you think about the possibilities, like, oh, they have access to the same thing even earlier. So I think that's what like if I'm Gen Z, the millennials or whatever the elder generations think about us, that, we have it easy. But I don't think people should, compare generations because everybody has different situations. And like you said, technology keeps changing. Like it just keeps evolving. So the question I had is that has competition really become harder today, or do we just perceive it to be like that? Like, what do you think? Like from your experience, like when you were an undergrad student, did you have all of this? Like, were you in? Was there a rat race back then? Also, were people running behind, impressing? I mean, making impressive CVs, getting jobs, and all of that, or was there some debate? What do you like think about that, sir?
But there was no way to have an impressive CV. There's nothing you could do.
But like,
What? Like, what could you do? There was nothing you could do. Because what? There was no opportunities. There were no openings. There was nothing you could do. And there were the conventional things which are still there. You could be in the debate club, you could be in the drama club, you could play college hockey, you could play college cricket, or you were a athlete or something like that. But there was nothing else you could do. So there was no way to have any impressive CV. There was no way to add. I mean, honestly, ask me. I mean, 3 years of BA in St. Stephen's College, I mostly wasted my life. There was nothing to do. I mean, classes were
well,
easy. It was a joke. What the heck? 2 years, I played bridge all night for one semester. What the heck?
so that means, so let's suppose people from your generation had it like, I mean, like maybe you said like it was easy, and then you became
Well,
a
life was
professor.
not
So did
easy.
you? Oh,
Academics
life.
was
Okay.
easy. Academics was easy. Life was not easy. We had no facilities. We were hot in summer, cold in winter. Life was not easy. We didn't have
Okay.
any money, all that, but we had time because there's nothing to do.
Oh. So is that the reason why the elder generations made it harder for the younger generations? Like
No,
suppose
it
you
was
had it
it was
easy.
always changing. It was changing right from their time. I mean, if you talk of colleges there was no expectation that you would study hard because the same course for all colleges in Delhi University, same exam. So why is it so hard for you? It isn't. So what's your problem? You know, there were that was Naxalite times, and there were some students who had come from Calcutta because after first year they didn't have classes there, so they came to Delhi. One of them actually did the assignment which the teacher had given. The teacher said, "Arey bhai, didn't you have something else to do? You've done the assignment, now I have to grade it also. Why don't you go and find something else to do? Because what is it?" So let me tell you that it was much less stressful, at least in my time. It was much less stress. Yes, there was a rat race, but what could you do? There's nothing. And the rules were all strict and all. There used to be this radio, there were only radio. There used to be a radio program from Delhi radio station, which was sort of Western music. And we used to come on at 10 o'clock. In our hostel, you couldn't be out after 10. So you had to get this fellow who got the job to be the DJ. He had to ask for permission that I will be out after 10 every evening. And then basically the hostel warden said, no, you'll be at home at 10. There's nothing you could do. But he managed to get permission, so at least he could say I was a DJ. But what could you do? There was nothing to do. There's absolutely
Oh.
nothing to do. So there was no way to build a CV. And uh, honestly, I have the opposite view to what the people are critical. I mean, look at what you're doing. You're doing a BA in econ, and yet you are in IIT Madras. I mean, I could barely go to class in my BA. I said, what is all this? ठीक है, I'll do it on my own. So I didn't attend half of my stats classes in BA econ, but I was the topper in the class. So it was easy. I just went to the library, read some books, and I topped the university. I didn't go to half the classes because I was playing bridge all night. It was early in the morning. Who was going to class? No, so it was very different days. You can't, people who say it was hard, yes, we had no money. We had no facilities. We had nothing to do. The rooms were hot and cold. Our pens used to leak. We couldn't even be sure that in the exam the pen would work. Those were problems. But in terms of uh, activities, I mean, I can't imagine. First time I heard from somebody, I'm doing bachelor's in biology in DU, and at the same time, I'm doing uh, uh, another degree in the Open University. I said, what is this? You're actually taking it
Hmm.
seriously. So people were not serious, okay, at that time. Let me assure you that it was not the idea that you were stuck at your books the whole day. It wasn't like that. My time.
I wish I
It
wish
just
we could
wasn't
also
like
say the
that.
same.
And, people used to have no idea of what is being taught in the class because they could, especially if they were in the top colleges, because the same exam everywhere. So, ठीक है, we do it. I mean, IAS coaching, my younger sister and my classmate from school, they were in Jaipur, they never took any coaching. And they were in the top 10 in India. No
So I think you're
coaching.
talking about all toppers and all
So
these
that's what I'm
brainy
saying.
people.
But the toppers were just relaxed. There were no CV building, nothing. What toppers?
Oh.
They studied all their life in Jaipur. They never took any coaching. No coaching classes, nothing, no books to coach from. And yet the competition, they were among the top 10 in India, both of them. So, and then you don't have to go to Delhi or any place, nothing. And in Jaipur, there's no coaching classes. What coaching? No coaching. So I took my GRE without ever having seen a GRE test in my life. First time I saw the test was when I took it. I have no idea
Oh,
what is
okay.
GRE. There's nobody to tell you, nobody to discuss with. What is GRE? Just go and do it. Okay. So you could, I mean, you could do it. But today, if you think, oh my God, I don't take coaching, I don't do this, what is going on here? So, I mean, the IIT coaching was also very few places. I mean, in Jaipur, I was not a student in high school. There was no IIT coaching class in Jaipur. So anybody who got into IIT got in because of self-study. So don't let people tell you that it was all academics and stuck at that time. No, we learned a lot of things, but
Mhm.
mostly outside the class. So
Wow.
it's the wrong way. But by the 90s, things had become much more competitive. And maybe your parents' time it was tougher, but not in our time. It was just not the case that you were stuck. I mean, we read lots of stuff which was not in the classroom. I learned, you learned how to do crossword puzzles, you learned things. But basically, you learned how to learn, and that was it. So, and there are a lot of drugs also at that time. It's not the case that nobody was taking drugs. A lot of people were. They were still doing well.
Hmm.
So life was not the way people are, ideal. And but it was fun also. It was difficult physically and money-wise, but otherwise things were. Well, I mean, you are doing BA Econ and you are doing something from IIT Madras. I said, what is this madness, this young? But that's why I started this channel because I said this stereotype is so
Mhm.
wrong. The elite of today in India, young people, are far superior than the elite in my time because they have taken advantage of all the new technologies to accumulate knowledge, which we had no way to accumulate. Okay. I mean, I talk to people who say, I'm learning Korean. I say, why aren't you just an undergraduate? Why are you learning Korean? Why don't you just go and have some fun? No, 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 I'm learning this, I'm learning. And where are you learning? It's all on YouTube, everything is there. So you are taking two courses, people are doing things. And that's why the channel, I said, this is all stupid, this talk that this young generation doesn't know. Let me give them a chance to come and talk because they know what it is. So I
Right.
don't agree with the opinion. The old generation actually is lost in digital land.
Mhm.
And they are finding it hard to understand what the natives do. If you look in sociological terms, they have no clue as to what life in digital land is like. And what the natives in digital land do, they don't have a clue because they are stuck in the old way. And since, my friends and I, we are tech savvy, we know what is digital land. We are not natives, obviously, but we know that this is the way to go. And so this channel is, I started a sort of rebuke to my generation. The guys, you don't understand. I also don't, but I want to listen to them. You know, learn to listen to young people. See what they have to say. Don't assume that they don't fit in your mold, because that mold is outdated. That mold is obsolete and it was restrictive. It was not broadening. You could say they're broadening the mind, but it wasn't really broadening because there was too many restrictions on knowledge and inability to do things on your own. So anyway, that's sort of my view. That's why this channel. I said, what the heck is this? People are. I talk to young people, and they're doing amazing things. Why? Not because they are better, but because the means are there and take advantage of it. And the courses are so easy, people can do 2 degrees at the same time.
Oh, sir, it's not easy.
But you are
That is,
doing two, but you are still doing two.
I'm struggling to keep up with
Okay,
both
but
of them, but yes, yeah,
struggling is part of life. Okay, that's all right.
yeah,
But at
that's
least you have voluntarily committed yourself to this insane asylum of two course, 2 degrees.
Yes, I
My
have.
my friends in BA would say, Subodh, you go to class once in a while, you tell us what it is about. Last minute you coach us. Baki, we are not interested. So it's okay. All right, let's continue. If you have something else, otherwise let's end this here.
Yes. I have one slightly controversial topic. So, should I quickly just mention it or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
do you?
Do it.
Okay, last topic. So, this is about like two problems, something to do with policy, something to do with politics, something to do with talent and initiative. So, as somebody studying economics and public policy and economics, I see this disconnect. Um, on like we in school and in college, we learn about how policy should be made, what the government should do. This, the public econ is about like what the government does, how the budgets are formed, how resources are allocated, and like how the government functions. And then we learn in development economics of how people can be, how policies can be made to benefit people and all of that. So we're learning about what the government should do. And that is right. For an econ student, you need to know how the government works. But why does nobody learn how we as individuals should, how we as individuals can contribute to this, to the actual problems? Like we learn about how we should help, how the government should make policies to help the poor, generate more employment and all of that. We talk about all of these policies. We have a lot of people they take part in MUNs, Model United Nations, and like all these young kids are making policies. There are debate competitions happening. People are having all these hackathons, solving problems, and all of that. But are they like did they have all these great ideas and solutions to real world problems, but they're not coming out. Like it's just limited and stuck to that competition. They'll win the competition with this great idea, but nothing will actually change in the real world after that. Like very rarely do kids, like these kids who are like doing very well, they have these great ideas. Even if 1% of those people actually stepped out and like, so my point is, when it comes to real politics, nobody wants to enter. There is no kid who says, when asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? Somebody would say doctor, engineer, typical answers. Then when I came to my economics, undergrad, when it started first year, everybody was like, yeah, maybe I want to get into public policy. I want to make policies and all of that. But nobody ever says, I want to be a politician. Like nobody wants to use that word. Nobody wants to come into politics. Well, I am a little unclear, but I think sometimes, like mostly, politics and policy it is linked. It is intertwined. Like you can't say, "Hey, I will just make policy, but I won't get into politics." That's just funny to me. Like that doesn't make sense. So, like we all treat politics as something that's very dirty, corrupt, untouchable. Oh, the story is like that. Oh, India politics is just corruption. But why? Like we have all these people with such great ideas. Why are they not stepping up? Why is the generation not stepping up? Was what I was thinking about. So policy is essentially politics. So if we don't enter, then who are we trusting to represent our logic? All these ideas. So, like I said, we create brilliant solutions during competitions, but after winning that competitions, we stop. So, if 1% of those students who win these challenges approached real policymakers with their ideas, India might look way different. Like even like at a small step. So we have all these Right to Information Act. So the government does have all these websites and like places where you can try to reach out. But do people reach out? I personally, I have never reached out. I complain, oh, the roads are bad, oh, the government should do this, so this should be done. People should do something for the middle class. The government is doing nothing, waste. And then you get into politics, which is associated with people, which shouldn't be the case. Like politics is not just a person. Yeah, some people are corrupt, but unless and until like when you have strong opinions and when you have good solutions, unless and until you step into politics to like solve things, things won't change. You'll just keep talking and you'll spend your whole life talking about politics and gossip. So that becomes gossip actually. So that is what people, mix politics with gossip. So, and I heard this from somebody who knew a bureaucrat, And apparently, that bureaucrat told him about this sometime, that most people come to me, as in the bureaucrat, in his words, most people come to me for favors. Like, in Hindi, I'll say, कि मेरे बच्चे का एडमिशन करवा दो, मेरा ये रह गया है, कोई ये फॉर्म भरना है, ये कोई गवर्नमेंट का मेरा काम है, मेरी पेंशन रुक गई, आप ये करवा दो. So they go with all those petty things to bureaucrats because they know them like, oh, relative or something like that, but not for actual issues. So why is that? Like, we have all these great officers, like IS officers, IFS officers, who cleared the UPSC thing, and they're there at that level. They have that power also to make change. But why is nobody going to them with solutions? Like, obviously, they can come up with solutions as well. People are writing the exams, but as a general person, like as a citizen of India, if I have certain issues, why don't I raise it with the authorities? Why do I just talk about it with my people and gossip about it and then leave it? Because I assume the government won't do anything. How will the government do something if you don't tell the government that there's an issue? People just assume, okay, the government will figure it out. I mean, that is true. The government will figure it out. They should figure it out, but they're not doing it. That's a different debate. That's what people keep talking about. So, my next topic, which is related to this, like in continuation, is India's core problem is not a lack of talent, but a lack of initiative and effort. So India has no shortage of data, talent, models, tools. We have everything at our disposal. We have great minds, brilliant people. We have Indians all across, the world also, like brilliant people. Indians are known for their intellect. So I just feel that there is this disconnect where people are just not taking the effort or the initiative to do things. Now, one example, so this is my personal frustration that I have, is with autos. So in India, there's this concept of a three-wheeler auto. I think you know, right? So the auto wales. So we have these apps, Uber, Rapido, and all of that. Now they have complex models behind them. They have these Poisson distributions running behind exponential wait times, and there are a lot of research papers on the models that determine the prices behind, the auto fares and all of that. But whenever I book an auto, I have to always, the driver will always ask for a surcharge. They'll be like, Madam, I won't come. 50 rupees extra. Madam, 100 rupees extra. Too much traffic. Like, there is some logic behind the whole like the math behind it. But obviously, most auto drivers aren't educated enough to know that the prices that are there aren't just random. They have some logic. It takes into account all distance and like a lot of variables. Like there are big models behind all these apps. So the app has done the math, but the driver doesn't trust it. The driver is like, I have experience. So this is like a coordination failure of sorts. So, and in real world, this is a breakdown of the Nash equilibrium in a way, because both parties are acting selfishly. Like the driver doesn't want to come, I don't want to pay extra. I'm like, hey, the price on the app is the right price. And eventually, both end up not exactly in an equilibrium because both are worse off. It's not Pareto optimal. It's just my opinion. So, like nobody is we're all too tired to fight the right battles because we've all just given up. uh everybody just thinks that the system is broken. Okay, so now I'm getting back into the initial topic, moving away from the auto guys. So my point is, nobody wants to take an effort. Teachers are getting tired of teaching. Auto drivers don't want to drive. Restaurants are not selling good food. Students aren't studying. Nobody's doing what they're supposed to do. Everybody just wants to, I don't know, nobody wants to slack off. Everybody's also putting a lot of hard work. But again, at the same time, it's just not uh, happening. So I don't know, like, why are people not fulfilling their potential? Why are people not pushing back? Why are people not taking effort and initiative to do the things that are fundamental? Like, and like coming back to the topic of why don't people go to the government? Most people don't even know their fundamental rights. Like maybe a law student doing a BBA LLB or a BLLB will be like, yeah, I know the fundamental rights. I have it in the course. I have the book. I know all of it. But as an individual citizen, do I know my fundamental rights? I don't. So shouldn't we all like educate ourselves? Or maybe, yeah, it's hard. Everybody doesn't learn by themselves, but I think the education system should also incorporate this into like teaching. Like, not only should they teach personal finances and all of that at a young age, but also stuff like what your fundamental rights as a citizen are, how you can actually apply the RTI. Because we learn about the RTI, we're like, oh, the government has these provisions. But okay, how do I actually apply for it? Where is it applicable? Is there an example? If a teacher maybe uses it in front of me, and like, suppose the road is bad or anything, you actually show kids that it is possible, then mostly you can, because you can bring change only at like the young level. After a certain age, people are just giving up on things. So that's just one thing. I know it was a little messy, I'm sorry, but
Well, okay,
yeah,
let
that's
me
it one.
respond very briefly. First, the whole, what should I say, jobs, political, corporate world, they haven't figured out what to do with young talent. Okay, so which is totally lacking. And so the talent in the universities and colleges is stuck within the old college and university system, and it has no way to reach out beyond that. There are some NGOs there, but there's really no way to reach out for young people. So they're all forced to only compete to improve their CVs. Okay. So, okay, I'm doing 6 activities. This is MUN, PUN, whatever it is. They're just doing it because it works to improve their CV. But nobody really wants to tap this knowledge and this talent, partly because they don't believe that there is any talent. That, okay, let them come when they're older, then we will teach them the real world. Okay. So they don't, that disconnect still remains. And then the disconnect there also remains, as you said, between the actual delivery people on the ground and the mathematical models that drive today's modern economy, especially in service delivery and all that. I mean, it is, I've heard of this before, that pricing is not realistic. You can't get for the stated price. It was there in the old days also. The taxis had a meter, but the meter prices, you could never go with that. You had to always negotiate, or whatever, sometimes they would turn the meter on, sometimes they won't turn the meter on. But the prices were set in a way that didn't really meet the aspirations of the delivery people. It's the same, because nobody wants to have these people as employees. And the heart of it, the business model is, I'm not responsible for them. They're not my employees. And so they're very, very careful to say they are not my employees. And since they're very careful to say that they are not my employees, they cannot tell them what to do. And they don't want to tell them what to do, because if they tell them what to do, then legally they become employees. They don't want employees, because they don't want to take charge of these people. And there's just an article the other day in the US that I read, that sexual assault has become much more common in Uber. And disrespect, not just a heavy assault, but light, because Uber cannot say anything to the driver, because they don't want to say anything. If they say something, then they are controlling the driver. They want to create the idea that we are just a platform. We just set prices. And when the drivers want to accept, they accept. When they don't want to accept, they don't accept. We don't force them to do anything, because the moment you force them to do something, they become your employees. And then all the rules related to employees in every country set in, and they want to keep themselves as asset light, less regulated bodies. So there's a fundamental problem there. that their business model is we have no assets. We're just an algorithm. Okay. We just connect. We are a platform on which the consumers can come, and there are a platform on which the producers can come. And when the twain meet, they meet. When they don't meet, they don't meet. We have nothing to do with it. So we are not like Britannia and you complain, oh, the biscuit is bad. I can complain to Britannia. No, 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 no. We don't make the ride. It's some X. The fannies, many of them, and one of them comes, doesn't come. What can we do? So there's a fundamental issue there. But anyway, thank you so much, Maahika. It's been a long talk. I think it's very,
Yes.
very good to hear from you and to get a sense of what people like you think. It's certainly very illuminating for me. So let's end it here today. I'll be back with another young person or an expert soon. Till then, bye everybody. Stay online.